Imagine being in Rome in the summer of 64 AD. So you're in wooden houses tightly packed together in really narrow streets, and then suddenly a fire breaks out. It spreads quickly and it turns the city into an inferno that lasts for 9 days. And in the middle of this catastrophe and in the aftermath of it, you're hearing the same story over and over, that Emperor Nero had stood by and was just playing music while the city was burning. And this is actually where we get the expression, fiddling while Rome burns. So the story said that Nero, who loved performing with the lyre, which is a kind of small harp, he'd supposedly been singing songs about the fall of Troy during the time that Rome was caught up in this massive catastrophe. And this is a really powerful image of the arrogance and neglect that people felt under his rule. But the actual truth behind it is that a lot of ancient historians disagree that this even happened. Some claim that Nero actually opened up his palaces as a shelter to the homeless and that he was a big part in providing food to those who were in need. But others, particularly his enemies, were spreading this tale of the fiddling emperor to try and paint him as heartless. What we do know is this. After the fire, Nero was able to seize huge quantities of land that had been cleared by the flames. He built his enormous golden house, which was a huge palace covered in glittering gold and jewels, a huge symbol of opulence following a massive tragedy. So regardless of whether or not he was singing while the fire was happening, his actions were enough to leave a lot of people suspicious and not feeling that great about him as a leader. So while the story that Nero fiddled while Rome burned may actually be more of a myth, it has actually stuck, because it just so perfectly captured how the Romans were feeling about him during this time. He was a leader who was more interested in his own pleasures and his own opulence than his people's suffering. Even if this story isn't true or is exaggerated, Nero's reputation for cruelty comes from a lot more than this. He left a very bloody legacy behind him and ruled through fear. So no, he was not some misunderstood great guy.